As you can see, we have a number of very qualified and professional speakers in our panel. And Mr. Leung has kindly agreed to provide us with a few slides to show us what the government had done in the past and its future initiatives. Hence, we would like to take this offer to start our discussion with Mr. Leung's presentation. Mr. Leung, please.
Thank you very much, William. What I intend to do is to briefly describe the current situation of provision of commercial and office space in Hong Kong, and also our strategy of providing land for such purposes in future. I hope this will set the scene for the panel discussion later on. Now, this is the slide showing the stock of commercial space in Hong Kong. This is the private commercial stock. If you look at the bar over here, in 2006, there's a sudden jump of property completion. This is actually not the case. This is the year, because towards the end of 2005, some commercial space of the Housing Authority, which is the authority providing public housings in Hong Kong, has sold some of the property to the so-called the trust fund, the real estate trust fund. So there's an increase there. Also look at the green line on the graph is the price of the price index. You can see that Hong Kong was affected by the SARS in 2003. That is the lowest point, almost the lowest point in this decade. And it picked up very quickly, and then towards the end of 2008, the financial crisis, and then again we pick up again in 2009 and onward. This shows, on one hand, the economic recovery of Hong Kong. On the other hand, some policies this contributed to this growth. In 2003, there's a new scheme for mainland visitors coming to Hong Kong, this so-called the individual visit scheme. Previously, mainlanders used to come here on a package tour, but since 2003, some of them can come on an individual basis. And so far, we have 49 mainland cities with such facilities. And also in 2009, in April, all the we call the usual residents in Shenzhen, our neighboring city across the boundary, they can come here with multiple entry documentation. You can do it once and then they come over several times. So again, it facilitates people coming to do their shopping in Hong Kong. If later on we have time, we can talk about the spending. Now this is the slide showing the office stock in Hong Kong for the past 10 years. Again, the increase is about 12 million square meters to more than 14 million square meters. And again, the prices is going up in the last 2 years. Also the rental as well. This is again the economic recovery, and also the fact that Hong Kong is becoming almost the third financial center after London and New York. And there's a lot of the so-called advanced producer services trade setting up offices in Hong Kong. Trades like the finance sector, accounting, legal profession, advertising, so on and so forth. What we're trying to do is to increase the supply of office land in Hong Kong. We know that within Central, the traditional central business district is almost saturated, but we're trying our best to look for new sites. And there are a couple of new sites in Central, which will be put into the market in the next few years. We also try to vacate government leased accommodation in Central. The other thing is in Wan Chai, right here. We have a government office complex, almost more than 1 hectare in size, 1.3 hectares. We are going to move all these offices to Kai Tak, to the old airport, to the old airport. to the old airport in Kai Tak. This will happen in year 2014. We also explore new opportunities for other office nodes, like I've said, Kowloon Bay, Kwun Tong, Kai Tak, Quarry Bay, and if you are familiar with Hong Kong, south of Hong Kong Island with an industrial area called Wong Chuk Hang is also going to be an office node in Hong Kong. Now, going very quickly to the this year's policy address by the Chief Executive. He has initiated a very important initiative, which is to energizing Kowloon East as a second CBD in Hong Kong. As I said earlier on, the old Kai Tak Airport over here is all government land. All these are commercial space, offices to be sold in the year 2014-15 onward. And we're trying, our strategy is really simple. It's called CBD2. It's connectivity. We'll emphasize intra and inter-regional connectivity, linking Kowloon East with Central, with new towns, and so on. B is for branding. Branding this as a premier office node, because it is still in people's images that Kowloon Bay and Kwun Tong are all industrial areas. So we have to change that image of the people. And then through design, like the waterfront promenade along the area all over here, we have a bit 200 meter completed. We're doing design for this one. The rest we are doing now. So there will be going to be a waterfront promenade around the area. We will improve the streetscapes. And we also be introduce a diversity of uses in this area. It's not just offices as such. We will introduce service apartments, hotels, and shopping areas, so as to make this area a very vibrant and energetic one. And we also look at the water area here. There may be marinas, and that we can have water sports in the Kai Tak Channel. So what we want to do is to make this area, it's almost like 24 hours a day, you know, with activities. And the last slide I'm going to show is West Kowloon. It's been talked about for years. Now we are towards the end of the planning stage. This is a 40-hectare site with cultural and activities, performance venues. There will be offices as well and residential uses. So it's going to be a mixed-use area. Currently, the ICC is here. It's has an area of about 230 square meters of office floor space. There will be 0.2 million here. This is a station for the high-speed railway linking Shenzhen and Guangzhou and the rest of the country. It will take us 15 minutes to go to the CBD in Shenzhen, 48 minutes to go to Guangzhou. So we have changed the planning for this one. Originally, it was going to be a mixed-use one. So we turn it basically into an office development plus some retail floor space, because there are residential development around the area, and there's some new one over here. This is the Kowloon Station to the airport, and this is the domestic MTR line. So it's a railway hub, if you like. So we will try to make use of these opportunities to provide a critical mass of office space, more than 0.6 million square meters. So with all this, we hope that we can cater for the growth in the years to come. With that, perhaps I'll stop here.
Thank you, Mr. Leung. That was a very good presentation on Hong Kong government's initiative about its future plans on making Hong Kong more, creating more office space for the economy. Let me turn the discussion to the private sector now. Let me ask a question about to Mr. Law about what kind of advice would you give the government in their detailed plans now that they have given us a bigger picture of the macro initiative that they are doing?
Yeah, thank you, Raymond. I think, what Jimmy has tell us, government plan for the next decade into the 2023 era about the Kowloon East development, CBD2, which is, I think, one of the a very important topic for the real estate business in Hong Kong or the market itself. Remember, we're talking about the size of CBD2 larger than central districts, possibly add on to the Wan Chai area as well. It's a huge area. For those who haven't been to Kowloon East, you should go there, have a visit. It's already mushrooming with many new developments. From my company, I mean, we have already built Grade A offices add up to 2 million square feet in office space during the from 10 years ago up to now, where we have a brand new building called 18 Kowloon East ready for lease. That is another 400,000 square feet. Now, the whole development of Kowloon East actually from the private sector, it had been, as Jimmy said, industrial area in the past. But over the last decade or so, there are land use from changing the industrial into the office sector. But from now until the whole development of the CBD2, which, as Jimmy said, connectivity is important, where I use the milestone date of where the light rail will begin operate, it will take more than another 10 years or so. From this 10 years onwards, office tenants, offices continue to be occupied. In one building in my area, I mean, I have already 5,000 office workers in the area. They need a lot of support in terms of a few things. First, about the intra-regional traffics, connectivity to the MTR, connectivity to the main shopping centers, plus F&B. I mean, don't look upon F&B as a simple thing. I mean, we have, at the moment, not a lot of shopping malls in Kowloon East. The restaurants supporting the luncheon, the dinner, the banquet are very few at the moment. So I really hope that, from Jimmy's perspective, how this, within the 10 years, how we're going to, first of all, find sufficient space for the F&Bs. Secondly, working with various government departments on facilitating inter-regional traffic like shuttle buses, plus connecting to other areas as well. I mean, remember, the MTR is only on near one of the stations on the eastern side, but the rest of the area is still not connected. I mean, even though it's not too far away, but then walking from one building to another, it's still something for the workers and the visitors and the business society, community to be of a challenge. So Jimmy, where would you suggest both the private sector and public sector to start thinking about all the peripherals or the second echelons of service amenities?
Yeah, I agree that with Lawrence that this is a big area. For those who are not familiar with Hong Kong, this is almost the size, twice the size of current central district. So it's huge. They're going, at the moment, there are about 1.4 million square meters of office space, mainly Grade A offices in this district. And I'm sure it will grow in years to come. I haven't really mentioned in my earlier presentation about the connectivity. There are at present 3 underground railway, the Kowloon Bay, Kwun Tong, and Ngau Tau Kok. In future, this is the line linking up Sha Tin New Town with Central, and this is called the Station Square station. And this is a proposed monorail, or we call it environmental friendly linkage system. And we will have kick off the public consultation for this line very soon. This is basically to connect up with the area, because it's a huge area, we need to do it. In terms of timing, I think we may need to look at other means like green buses, for instance, before we have the monorail in place. So this is something that we will have to look into. Actually, the government has announced that it will set up a new office to push this project forward. So I think one of the most important things is to have the connectivity issue sorted out. In terms of the F&B facilities, at the moment there's a lot of redevelopment by private developer, and most of them have shopping space included. In the medium term, perhaps we can look at the promenade area, which is very long. We can incorporate some sort of F&B facilities there. So that's something we have to look into in the future. In the longer term, these two orange area, we'll call this action area 1 and 2. This is going to be the depot of the monorail if it's going to be built. And this is a hub. Also, we incorporate artist activities and so on and so forth. So we can include retail space, hotel in these two action areas so as to increase the F&B facilities.